Hello and welcome to Tabletop Oddity. My name is Jay and today I want to talk about whether or not Star Wars Legion can ever possibly hope to maybe catch up to Age of Sigmar in the popularity scales. And so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about why how we even know what positions what and that kind of stuff. But if at the end of this video you like the video, do consider pressing the like button, as that does help. And if you're not subscribed to the channel and you want to talk about, look at, watch all things Star Wars Legion, then please do hit subscribe, as it really does help. So a couple of immediate disclaimers. We don't get sales figures from every single company, therefore we have no official way of knowing the exact popularity of every game. How many games are played at my local store may not reflect the general population worldwide, country-based, national, all that kind of stuff. But the evidence that I'm going to talk about here is, one, I've spoken to a couple of people who know some UK store data, and they will occasionally tell me, I'll ask the question like, how popular is this game relative to this game, etc. And I've some information like that. But the main sort of source here is going to be ICV2, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So the popularity of the game. So a couple of things I want to say first and foremost. I'm not really going to include Star Wars X-Wing in this list, right? Because Star Wars X-Wing is a strange game in the sense that there is almost no hobby, or there is no forced hobby. You can obviously paint your ships, and it's a very popular game. It's a very good game. I'm a fan of Star Wars X-Wing, but the reality is it's a dissimilar game to 40k, Age of Sigmar, Star Wars Legion, War Machine, etc. It sort of stands apart on its own. So we're going to discard that. And if you discard that, I firmly believe that Star Wars Legion is probably the third most popular game right now. More popular than, say, War Machine that I just mentioned, Guild Ball, all those kinds of games. And my evidence for that, as I said, is people talking to people who have inside information. And so this is a bit old. This is from March 4th this year. We've not got it for earlier than that. They've not announced anything since then. And if they have, I can't find it. And even this data here, it's from fall 2018. So this is basically October, November and December last year. Star Wars Legion's had its announcement of the Clone Wars since then, so that's going to probably have boosted sales and probably will boost sales. Age of Sigmar is getting Warcry, so maybe that's going to boost that sales. 40k had Kill Team, and now you might not be able to distinguish between Kill Team and 40k because, if you buy a unit of Orcs, then you don't really know what purpose they're buying it. Are they buying it for Kill Team? Are they buying it for 40k? So they're getting mixed together. And you might look at this list and say, Jay, Star Wars Legion is 5th. What are you talking about? Yes, as I said, I'm going to exclude Star Wars X-Wing because it's a dissimilar kind of game. Fantastic game though it is. It's essentially a 2D game played with completely different mechanics to most other war games. Still a fantastic game, but I'm just sort of going to discount it here. And then you might be like, what's this? D&D Nazia's Marvelous Minis. So because this section here is called non-collectible minis, D&D miniature sales count, even though there is no war game. So that's not, D&D is not a war game, so not in the same bracket. So if we look at the three that I'm counting, I would have included like War Machine, Guild Ball, all that kind of stuff here, but we don't have this. None of these are on the list. 40k, Age of Sigmar, Star Wars Legion. And to be fair, X-Wing was probably when the second edition had just been announced and released. Had mixed reactions at the start, but gradually the old fans still like it and it builds back up. So I'm sure X-Wing might end up sliding up this graph at some point. It's actually been number 1. But yeah, so essentially I'm saying it's 40k, Age of Sigmar, Star Wars Legion, and to me that is reflected in my local scene. Maybe not so much at certain stores. Certain stores don't have a Star Wars Legion scene, but then equally they probably don't have a War Machine scene. They definitely have a 40k scene and an Age of Sigmar scene, but Legion is well and truly, I think, third. And the question of this video is, can Star Wars Legion catch Age of Sigmar? And obviously we're not going to 100% know the answer to that, but I think it's pretty promising that Legion is in the third position. I think I made a video when Legion was first announced. I made a video saying like, War Machine, Warhammer Hordes is at risk because there's not necessarily going to have enough capacity in the popularity or the audience or the consumer base for a third game that's 40k, Age of Sigmar, Star Wars Legion, and War Machine, and Guild Ball, and all these kind of funky games. And I think I don't want to say I've been proven right, but it feels like War Machine has definitely been on the decline since Star Wars Legion, and maybe even before, because I know people haven't really liked the new, was it version 3, whatever it is. But definitely in my local area, I would say Star Wars Legion is the third most popular war game, excluding X-Wing. And for me, that's 6 months after release. That's a very good sign for Star Wars Legion. There's been many good signs for Star Wars Legion. The fact that they're changing the plastic, the fact that we're getting Clone Wars, the fact that we're getting new stuff pretty much every month. All good signs. And of course, we have the very popular Games Workshop games. If you're interested in stuff like Warcry, you might want to check out my other channel, Rage Crit, and where I'll probably be doing, I'm very excited about Warcry right now. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, you want to see me talk more about Games Workshop, then slide all over into those DMs. They're not really DMs, but you know what I mean. So I'll talk more about Games Workshop stuff there. But there's really good signs for Legion as of right now. I think the Clone Wars, we saw a boost just from the announcement of it. We'll definitely see a boost from when it gets released. The Rally Point qualifiers are proving pretty damn popular. Yes, we're not at Age of Sigmar's 64 player tournaments or 128 player tournaments. We are well and truly at a stage where Legion is maybe getting 15, 20 players at a tournament, which you might be like, well, obviously that's nowhere near as popular. It'll never catch up. True, and not so true. We don't really know the rate at which Legion will grow. We don't know if Legion's going to have a fantastically fabulous 2 years from this point on, or if people will get fatigued. I personally am a big fan of Star Wars Legion. This channel is dedicated to Star Wars Legion, so if I wasn't, this would be a little bit weird. I think the rule set, the mechanics, the models, everything is improving. The balance is fantastic mostly. The rule set, there's a lot more agency in your turns and all that kind of good stuff. I think out and out the Legion is sort of cementing itself as this third place war game, and that intrinsically offers you a benefit that you don't get from being a Games Workshop game. What I'm trying to say there is some people don't like Games Workshop and will just look for the next best thing, right? And if you are one of those people, well, you want to have a game where you can play it, it's popular, it's good. You might be like, oh, well, I'm not really interested in X-Men pre-painted ships, I want to paint models, etc. You could very easily just naturally and defaultly set on Legion. And that will increase the player base of Legion. Now, whether or not we can ever get to a situation where we're tempting Age of Sigmar players on a whole, like, come on, come over here, I don't know. I don't really know enough about Age of Sigmar at the minute. I might get into Age of Sigmar once Warcry sort of dies off and I've got my models and I maybe want to play it or what have you, but I don't really know too much about it. What I do know is obviously it's similar to 40k in the sense that it's I do all my turn, you do all your turn, and there's that weird mechanic where it's like if you did your turn, then I can do my turn and then we roll off and I can do another turn. So for me that seems very swingy, whereas Legion's not really like that. I think there's reasons to really like Legion and there's reasons to be put off by Age of Sigmar, but conversely, the Age of Sigmar models, especially these new Warcry models, are absolutely, when I say disgustingly fantastic, I mean, wow, they are like jaw-dropping amazing. If you ask me, they are absolutely incredible. And Star Wars Legion, the models are getting better. We've seen that we're going to a different kind of plastic, we're going into sprues, so we're going to have more and more quality, and that's going to attract more and more hobbyists. So, the question whether or not it can surmount Age of Sigmar, I think I'm going to say it's possible, but I think by default it's unlikely because Games Workshop are just so damn popular. When the game was announced, I was like, can Star Wars Legion overtake 40k? And in my head I was like, maybe in like 3 years, but I was wrong. Like, there's no way that Star Wars Legion will overtake 40k in 3 years. 5 to 10 to 15, you never know, maybe. I think that could vaguely be possible if like Games Workshop mess up and FFG just keep pumping out quality stuff, then that could definitely happen. But I think Age of Sigmar is basically next on the list, and I'm not really sure how Games Workshop will react. I have a feeling that War Machine and War Mahords pumped Games Workshop into better communication and better community, that kind of stuff, and I feel like they'll just try and keep doing the same kind of thing. But when it comes to rules and all that kind of stuff, there's a lot of, you have to buy army books if you're playing a GW game, whereas in Legion you just buy your models and you're done kind of thing. The cost for rules is definitely, well, I believe better for Star Wars Legion. Whether or not they will spark some changes for Games Workshop, I hope so, because I hope both games get better, and competing against each other is a good thing. For sure. I'm just really intrigued to see what happens in the next 3 years. Age of Sigmar sort of could have hit its peak. It came out 3-4 years ago, something like that. It had its a rough start, a rocky start, because people weren't happy with fantasy, but it came back up. It's been more popular than it ever was, and now maybe that's where it's going to stand. And then you've got Legion, and Legion's like, yeah, I'm a new boy on the street, and I'm interested to see if it'll ever catch up. At one point, will Star Wars Legion go from 5th on this list to 2nd, or just ahead of Age of Sigmar? I'm not sure what X-Wing and the D&D minis will do, but I think it's possible, right? I think all I'm saying is I think it's possible. I don't see anything on the list that's going to knock Star Wars Legion off this list at the moment. There's a game like Super Fantasy Brawl that's interesting. You've got God Tier. You've got maybe like Malifaux 3rd edition. I think whilst they are probably going to be good games, etc., I don't think they're going to knock Legion off from this big, massive game that people love to play. And I think Legion's going to go from strength to strength. I don't think we'll hit an Age of Sigmar. We'll take over or get to Age of Sigmar in the next year. Probably not in the next 2, but maybe in the next 3. I think that's possible, and if they do that, that will be an absolutely massive achievement for Fantasy Flight Games. And there's good signs that they're investing. They're doing paints. They're doing different kinds of plastic, as I mentioned. So there's signs there, signs of growth, signs of life, and I think the competition's good for everybody. I'm not trying to slag off GW. Like I said, I'm excited about Warcry, etc., and I might even get into Age of Sigmar at some point. But I'm excited that maybe we might have finally an equal level competitor for the Games Workshop games. That's not just X-Wing. X-Wing is its own little weird thing. Hopefully you don't mind me excluding it. It still is a really good game, really popular game, but you can see why. There's, it's optional hobby basically. So yeah, I just thought I'd come on, talk about that. I'm just excited about the next couple of years, and Age of Sigmar sort of feels like, I wouldn't say it feels at risk, but it feels like they could definitely get closer together, and people will have serious decisions whether or not which one they want to play, which is exciting for both of them, I think, actually. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you care? Do you just like Legion? You're not really bothered, or would you like to see it get more popular and maybe challenge Age of Sigmar? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Have a most beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Thank you to my Patreons. Goodbye.